Grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. I'm Justin B. I'm the son of an all-powerful, all-loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships. I'm grateful to be in recovery today. What a beautiful thing that is. I'm grateful to be in the rooms for a little over 10 years. I love it. I can't see myself anywhere else, and I hope that tomorrow I wake up and make the same decision, but today it is a beautiful life. I'm here with the intelligent agent, spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host, Nikki M. Nikki, introduce yourself just a little bit here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nikki M. And according to our big book on the forward to the first edition, page XIII, it says, when writing or speaking publicly about alcoholism, and I love that because this is not just about alcohol, this is about the disease ism, we urge each of our fellowship to omit her personal name, that's my last name, or all the details around it. And oddly enough, I'll give you a fun fact. I've had 3 last names, Justin, and I've never legally been married. So don't ask. If you want a whole thing on that, we'll do it privately, everybody. Just message me. I'll tell you how it works. And I'm to designate myself instead as a member of whatever anonymous you're in. So I'm just a grateful member of every single anonymous on the planet. If you'll have me, thank you.
Love it. And I'm sure every anonymous you go into is shaken to the core and gets energized when you go in. All right. Today, Nikki, and what we do in this podcast, in this conversation, is we bring questions from others or from ourselves, from life, to the big book. And Nikki, as she has been gifted in her relationship with her higher power, with God, to be able to make connections in the big book with everyday issues. And we're going to dive deep into the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, the 4th edition that we use in this process. And really, there's some powerful things that come out of it, not only for me, but for many people who listen. And if you out there have a question that you'd like to bring to us, send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com. Nikki has 2 Ks. We'll get to those questions and address them as we move along here. And also, if you are happy or if you're willing and you enjoy what we do with Rico 12 and all of our different productions and projects and services, please consider donating. You can do that at the link that's in the show notes, and it's rico12.com/support. And we just really appreciate all support that can be given. Today, Nikki, I'm going to bring you a question that was addressed today in your Monday morning Noodle It Out with Nikki live meeting, a topic that you said came up a few times. And I want to go into this a little bit and see how one would diagnose this. You know, I work with lots of people. You work with lots of people, and many people out there that hear this are sponsors or sponsees and will be sponsors. You will be a sponsor if you're working the program. What do I do when either I or a person I'm working with comes to me and says, I'm not free. I'm not feeling it. Why am I here? What do I need to do to get free and feel it? What are your thoughts on that, Nikki?
Okay, so many thoughts on I'm not free. And I do want to talk before we go into this question. The 12-step sponsorship is completely free. We do not mix the spiritual with the material. And I want to point out our 7th tradition. I've just got our big book open to page 564. And we talked about it right now. The Noodle meeting it's a service meeting for the Rico 12 and all fellowships. It's just a service meeting. We don't really have a format. We come in and help each other. But the 7th tradition is fully self-supporting, and Rico 12 hosts us. So I just want to read it. The AA groups themselves ought to be fully self-supporting by the voluntary contributions of their own members. Okay, so if you have, we spent a lot of money on therapy. I spent a lot of money on holidays and men. And thinking that's going to make me better. Oh, and I spent a lot of money having another baby because I thought that cost me almost $200,000 having another baby, thinking that was going to be the solution. Anyway, and on page 567, it says, experience has often warned us that nothing can so surely destroy our spiritual heritage as futile disputes over property, money, and authority. So if this RICO 12 family helps you, please go to the link and donate your seventh. This is all free. Can't mix the spiritual with the material. Now, how do you get free? This person was on the Noodle, and she was driving with their person to go meet a pastor and other forms, other human aids. With her, they had a sponsor. So like a person comes to you in the fellowship and they say, Nikki, I'm not free. Justin, I'm new to the rooms. I'm not free. First question out of your mouth. Do you have a sponsor? Now, this person had a sponsor, and another person on the meeting today had a sponsor. Okay, so a few people were not free. They both had a sponsor. Then I said, okay, what step are you on? Because I figured this person was going to seek God because they were driving to a pastor with their sponsor. Step 11 is seeking God. So don't assume anything, because I said, what step are you on? Well, the first person was on step 1. Well, no wonder you're not free. Let's all repeat. 12-step program. There's 12 steps. 12 steps, not just one, not 11. If you're in the rooms long enough, you'll hear not 13. There's 12 steps. And the other person was on step 6 and had been for months and was wondering why they weren't free. Another person was on step 4. So that's it. Find out, because remember, let's just go here. Let's get our big book out. Page 90. Everybody, page 90. Someone says, I'm not free. And it could be someone at work. It could be a colleague. I'm suffering. Page 90. And this is not just for working with others. This is for life. Second paragraph. You need to get an idea of the person's behavior. What's going on? So the behavior in a 12-step program, do you have a sponsor? And if they don't have one, or they say they do, what step are you on? Right? You got to diagnose them. Their problems. I need to know your problem. Well, they're not free. Get armed with, here it is. It's also on page 18. Get armed with the facts. Get an idea about their background. Are they in 12 steps? It's a coworker. They don't even know about 12 steps. It's your 14-year-old child. How can you demonstrate these principles? Get an idea of the seriousness of their condition. Are they going to kill themselves? Are they going to go use fentanyl? Or are they just not free and they just need a solution and a way out? Because there's certain levels of triage. You understand, Justin, too. Like if they're about to go kill themselves or go take think they're going to go out on one last bender. Fentanyl's real big in my country. And in your country, guns are legal. They'll just blow their head off. There you go. And their religious leanings. I need to know, can I use the word God with the person I'm speaking to? Because if they hate the word God, I am getting nowhere real quick using the word God, right, Justin? Especially this person, we're in a 12-step meeting with this person. So I knew right away I could talk about the 12 steps and different things, but I'm talking to Sally Sue in the office, and I want to demonstrate these principles in all my affairs and help. Remember, my real purpose is to help people. So I need to figure out these things because I need this information to put myself in these people's position, their place, to see how I want to be approached if the tables were turned. So that's number 1, everybody. Someone comes to you, because the question Justin asks is, someone says, I'm not free, your sponsee. It's not even your sponsee, it's a new person in the rooms. It's a new person anywhere on the planet. So get armed with the facts. That's page 18, and we saw page 90. So you're not free. Then ask them, they have a sponsor, it's a 12-step program. Now, remember what this says. And I want to read something. I'm going to shrink us down. I'm hoping I can stay on this, Justin. And I want to, a sponsee sent me something and I want to read it. And as you know, I only work off my phone, but here it is. It says this. These are key words. It says on page 63, it's like, next we launched. Are you next launching? Because you have a sponsor. Your sponsors had you 8 months on step 1 when it says next, we launched. It says on page, I think it's 64, promptly. It's like we promptly do these things. We waste no time, says page 75, when someone's to hear our steps. You know, first opportunity, says page 75. You know what I mean? Like returning home, we find a place where we can be quiet for an hour. Like these are quick steps to be done. We don't delay. Promptly, says page 59. We continue to take personal promptly. That's step 10, page on 59. At once, immediately, page 99. But we must try to repair the damage immediately. See, these are key words everywhere. Quickly. We discuss it with quickly, make amends quickly. We vigorously commence this way of living as. I mean, there's so much all through the day. I mean, key words there, Justin, on how to tell someone when they tell you, I'm on step 6. It's like, this is, so obviously, and then you may have to wake that person up. Your sponsor is missing some key words in the book. Let me show you where they are. So it's very important, everybody, to have a big book in between you. And then again, let's go here. I'm not free. Okay, you have a sponsor, blah, blah, blah. You can tell them too. Page 29. This is very important. Page 29, everybody. It says each individual in their personal stories, there's your experience, strength, and hope. Because everyone's so used to page 58. What was it like? What happened? And what's it like now? That's what we hear a lot of people discussing when you go to speaker meetings, and they spend 5 hours on a drunkalogue. You know, they forget page 29 where it says each individual, that's the person who's speaking to the person who's not free. In your personal story, in your experience, strength, and hope, you describe in your own language. I like to use big book speak. But, you know, Justin, you'll use big book speak. Maybe you're speaking to someone in your religious community. You're going to use that language. You're going to, you're a Muslim. You're going to use your cultural experience and language. You're a yogini. You may throw in your crystals and all that, plus your big book, plus whatever experience you have. And from your own point of view, see your own point of view. And I Googled what point of view means. It means from your own particular attitude, the way you consider a matter, the way you do. See, you're going to describe in your own personal language, in your own point of view, the way you establish your relationship with God. And, but now Justin's armed with the facts about the person who says they're not free. I'm armed. They don't like the word God. Okay. I'm going to describe in my own personal language how I established a relationship with getting honest about life. My life isn't working. I'm going to also, from my own point of view, describe how I established a relationship with getting humble. Everything I've learned is a lie, and I need to really maybe rethink this thing called life, how I was not responsible. But Nikki, you're so responsible. Your house is clean. I can't find a crumb. That's because I've got obsessive compulsive cleaning disorder, because I like to blot out the consciousness of my existence with weirdness, like controlling the cleaning of my house. However, you see what I mean, Justin? Like, I'm not clean and I'm not free because I'm so dependent on what you think of me, right? So let me describe in my own language how I'm not responsible for my own emotions, how I need you to make me feel better, how I need your validation to make me be okay. Let me explain that. And how by being responsible, going, what you don't think of me doesn't matter. What my creator thinks of me matters. How I show up representing my creator matters. I'll describe that in my own personal language, how I got free. See, this is really radical because they don't want to hear about God. Let me tell you in my own personal language, in my own point of view, and usually I like to use the big book because we are in a 12-step program, how I forgave. You see? How I forgave, because the resentment's going to kill me. See, that resentment, that me refeeling. Let me tell you how my past is my greatest asset. friend. Let me tell you how I was dying in the rooms like you are, and how someone made the approach and took me through the steps real quick. So then that leads me into the next thing. You're not free. Guess what? I know someone who can help you get free. Do you want to live this way that I'm describing to you? And then you can lay out here it is, page 25. Let's go there. See, there is a solution. That's where we take them. See, it says almost none of us like the self-searching. See, friend, you're going to have to really self-search. Now, fast, launch. That's a step 4. You're in a program. You're only on step 1, sir. You've been here 8 months. No wonder you're free from your drugs and alcohol, sir. But you're going to go sleep with the secretary at work and you have a wife. Like, let's wake you up even more. You're off the buffet, but you're hiding out in your basement, avoiding family events because you're watching porn day and night. New girl in the room. You see, doesn't discriminate. Now, no one likes the leveling of our pride. That's what we're going to, and the confession of our shortcoming. I didn't like doing that, but this is what happened. This is the process required for successful consummation, to make complete, consummation, to complete and finalize. See, you're seeing it works in me, friend. You came to me, you heard me, you just shared with me you're not free. You're sharing that with me because you're hearing something in me that's making you go, oh, I may want what she has. Repeat back to the person what they've said, because by being in this program, Justin, and you know this, sitting in meetings and doing what you do, especially, sir, you are an excellent listener. Now, I'm sure you weren't always like that because you're selfish and self-centered. So by being a sponsor, you become a better listener. By sitting in meetings and not interrupting, by sitting on a podcast, because many times you're sharing back and I'm like, oh, but I want to interrupt, but I know that doesn't sound good on a recording. So I have to be quiet, wait for the pause so then I know when to jump in. So, and then let's just finish this. And we came to believe. See, I believe in the hopelessness and futility of the life I was living. You're describing to me, new friend, you're not free, the life you're living. And the futility. So you approached me telling me you're not free, but I'm going to approach you. Because it says when we're approached by the problem's been solved, and there's going to be nothing left but for you to pick up the simple. Everyone circle that word on page 25. This is so simple, and they want to complicate it like they did in school, like they taught me algebra and asked me if I've even used it, Justin, or asked me if I even have talked about George Washington, unless I'm talking about a Benjamin, baby. That's a dollar bill because I'm a retired stripper, okay? So here we go. Simple kit of spiritual tools. We're going to lay that at the person's feet who says, I'm not free. And then we're going to describe how we found heaven. Heaven right here on earth. It's in my mind. And I've been rocketed into a 4th dimension. Okay. I've been rocketed into, supposedly there's 12 dimensions. I'm like I don't even know. Some days I'm literally on ground 1 again, but most days I can't even put it into words. I've been here 12 years. It gets better, Justin. And that's which we have not even dreamed of. Justin, your existence is something. Tell me your miracle. You can't even dream of how great your life is, sir, when you really think about how great your life is. And that's when we start getting excited about the miracles. And that person who's not free we're energy. They're going to get excited too. And they're going to want what we have.
And something you mentioned there, Nikki, was it keeps getting better. If it's not getting better for you out there in the listening world here, look at yourself and say, what am I not doing that I used to do that I felt good about? What did I stop doing? Or what is next? Very early on here in our conversation, I can't remember if it was in this recording or earlier before. Today has worked differently than I thought I would, that I thought it would, but it has been good. And one of the cool prayers that I've heard people say, and I've implemented this into my life to a certain extent, is surprise me, God. Show me something new, God. And And God will show me something new when I'm looking for it, and it will blow my mind, and things will continue to get better. The 12th dimension or whichever dimension it may be, something new will happen. And that's one of the really cool things about recovery is if I'm stuck, if I'm not free, let's talk to somebody who is and be willing to do whatever that person does to be there, and then find out next. What's next, God? What's next? What's next? What is the next level of growth? And I think that's a super cool way of living in recovery and living in freedom. Any further thoughts on that, Nikki?
Okay, 2 pages. Page 55. Because remember, we're talking about not being free. Someone has approached you. We practice these principles in all our affairs. So page 55 says, it says, we can only clear the ground a bit. See, if our testimony to the person who is not free helps them, number one, sweep away their prejudice. You have to sweep away everything you've ever known. You're encountering me in this moment. Remind them, they're encountering you in this moment. You have to sweep away everything you've ever known. And then it says, now you've got to think honestly, because your life isn't working. Somehow we're together, new person in front of me. We're together. You're telling me. So I'm trying to give you a testimony to help you think honestly. And I'm going to encourage you to search diligently within yourself. See, it's not going to be anywhere but within yourself, because if you stay here with us and work these steps, you're going to find the problems in you. It's not in that bottle. It's not in that fridge. It's not in the people. It's not in that, Amazon account or in the casino. It's not in the pornography on the TV. It's in you, the problem. So the solution's in you. And then you can join us. See, with this attitude, what attitude? You need to every day sweep away your prejudice. Every day, think honestly. Every day, search diligently. And with that attitude, you are not going to fail. The consciousness of your belief, not my belief, not daddy's, not mommy's, not the prime minister's, not the president's, not the universe. Your belief is going to come to you. Now, page 133, this is a great place, and then you're going to give me your final thoughts on this. Page 133 says, and that's me and Justin. I can always speak for my brother, he says, and he'll correct me if I can't. We are convinced, and I know Justin and myself, we're convinced, no doubt whatsoever, that a spiritual mode of living is the most powerful health restorative. So I'm going to ask you, person who is not free, have you really tried a spiritual mode of living? And I want a yes or no, not a kind of, sort of, not a yeah, but maybe, not a little bit. I want a page 53 answer. God is everything or God is nothing, yes or no. So have you really tried a spiritual mode of living? Because yes, it's going to say further down, God's supplied us with doctors and all these things, but you're beyond human aid, madam, sir, child of God. You are beyond human aid. So have you really, really tried? Because this is not easy. It says simple, but not easy. So these are the questions. Like, this is how we remember intimacy. Into you, I see me. Intimacy. We're all one. That's the whole thing, is we ought to all get back to one. I mean, I could solve the world's problem in one day with one word: love. It's that simple. We have to just love. Justin?
This morning when we first started recording, I was a few minutes late. And the reason why is one of my sponsees reached out and was asking me questions that are beyond my pay grade about something he should talk to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and everything, the properly appointed authorities. But it was on this topic. And I'm going to reread that paragraph that you took out of there, that the spiritual mode of living is a most powerful health restorative. Now about health: a body badly burned by alcohol, by self, by whatever it is that I have burned my life down, does not often recover overnight, nor do twisted thinking and depression vanish in a twinkling. We are convinced that a spiritual mode of living is a most powerful health restorative. We who have recovered from serious drinking from self are miracles of mental health. but we have seen remarkable transformations in our bodies. Hardly one of our crowd now shows any mark of dissipation. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not one who can prescribe or not prescribe medications for depression, for ADHD, for whatever it is. I'm not that person, and I'm not going to give advice to get off that medication or not. But I will bear witness that living this spiritual way of life has changed my own emotional, mental, and physical well-being. And I've seen it happen in many others. Properly appointed authorities, everybody, go to your doctor. But I see miracles that happen. Be open to miracles. Yeah, I think that's what I've got. Nikki, any final thoughts before we close out?
No, absolutely. It says further down on page 133, God has wrought miracles among us. We should never belittle a good doctor, psychiatrist. It even says most of them give freely of themselves. This book was written 100 years ago. And in Toronto, Canada, you're not getting nothing free these days. It's just not happening. So I want to tell you what is free: a spiritual mode of living. You know, I introduce myself as a member, but I also introduce myself as, hi, I am Nikki M, and I'm a soul surgeon. And where did I get that degree, Justin? From the School of Hard Knocks. And what is my book and my big book? What are my tools? The tools are the spiritual principles. You can be a soul surgeon. See, don't forget, page 133 says we tapped a source of power, limitless expansion. We trust an infinite God rather than our finite self. Don't let the world and the things in it pigeonhole you. You have a powerful God. You have a magic magnifying mind. That's what the book says. What does the book say?
Everybody, come with us. Get free. Get free. You can do it. If you work it, because it works when I work it, and work it, you are worth it.